So, firstly, thank you so much to all our current students at Texila American University in Guyana, a prestigious medical school. I have with me a great panel of four high achieving students. So, over to you. Can you please, one by one, introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about yourself?
I'm Abdul Idris. By nationality, I'm Nigerian, but I grew up in Saudi Arabia pretty much all my life. My parents relocated when I was a kid. So yeah, basically, my primary education, and that's basically where I call home. I came to Guyana in November 2018, right? And I started my medical program here. So I started all the way from pre-med, and I'm currently in my final year, right? And I should be graduating October next year. A bit of my passion for medicine. So it's a lot pretty hard to just give a quick summary of, but this is something that I've basically dreamt of practicing right from when I was a kid. I mean it's something that's definitely been heavily influenced coming from a family of doctors, but it's something that I just grew to love. It's basically what I call life. Practice itself is something that it basically just encourages me the whole way, because one thing about medicine is that you always find yourself learning. I think that for a person that has that passion, it's something you find really interesting, and also the fact that you're always socializing with people. So if you're a social kind of person, that's definitely something that you're going to also enjoy. And then I think just the way that it touches on life in and of itself, but also so many aspects of life. So, for example, I've got a lot. Like if we start talking about my passions, this whole session would probably be about that. But one thing I find is that medicine basically allows me to be able to incorporate all of those passions in my life, which is something that some people might find interesting. The general idea is medicine basically takes pretty much everything from your life, in terms of commitment. But I find that, I'm actually able to explore my passions a lot more. So that's absolutely something that I've come to enjoy about it. That's a brief introduction from me.
Hi everyone, my name is Tisha and I'm from Indore, India. I began my journey at Texila in year 2019 September intake, and I'm currently in my final year. So I have two more rotations remaining, and I was always passionate about learning the how human body works, and I love the fact that how doctor gets to help, like, use science to help people live like healthier and happier. So yeah, I can't wait to finish this exciting journey.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Adrita Ghosh, and I'm from Bangalore, India. So I started my journey in the year 2019 with Texila from PME1. Right now, I'm in my final year, and I also have two rotations left. Talking about how I got into medicine, I think coming from a background, especially in India, when you grow up, parents, relatives, everyone, first question they ask you is, what do you want to become when you grow? And as far as I can remember, I always said, oh, I want to become a doctor. And I never really knew what it takes at that time. But I think this determination grew stronger when I lost a few relatives, close relatives, my grandparents, due to wrong treatment, which I got to know much later on. So that was like a personal grudge in me and a determination in me that when someone loses their close ones, only then they get to know what pain it is and what needs to be done right. Then I had a migraine, and I remember the doctor telling me that there is no treatment or cure for migraine. And I said, why? Why would that happen? I mean, in a world where we are developing so much, when there is so much science, there has to be. So it started with that determination. And I never knew that this journey would be so exciting. And it was tiring as well. It is really hard, but at the end of the day, when you see your patient smile, I think, and when they say, thank you, doc, I think there is no greater joy than that. So yes, this keeps on pushing us more forward, and that is my journey. Thank you.
So I'm Brittany, a final year medical student. I started Texila in the year of 2018. And I've really had an amazing journey thus far. I reside in Guyana. That's my home country. And why did I choose medicine? Basically, it was surrounding my desire to help people. I've always had that great desire of helping and, making the world a better place by doing small things. And I know by any means medicine is small, but I really like going for higher heights. And so tying those two together, it was a great combination. And I'm truly loving it so far. And I can't wait to see what's next for me.
It's my pleasure to be speaking to all of you, all budding doctors almost ready to embark on that journey. So all of you are from different parts of the world. What made you decide that Texila American University is the right choice for you?
So I chose Texila because it stood out in like several key areas, including the accreditations like CAMHP and ACCM, assured me like of the credibility and quality here. And the curriculum is well structured, resembling the one in US med schools, and which was important to me for global recognition. I appreciated the 5-year course structure here. 3 years is dedicated to your basic science and building your strong foundation in basic science, and 2 years are for the hands-on clinical experience. Additionally, the faculty reputation for being supportive and approachable played a significant role in my decision as well.
Chose Texila because of its global outlook on medical education and its ability to cater to international students. As Disha already mentioned, they have a very vast plan. And also, I think for major students, it would be the affordable tuition structure without compromising the quality of education. That was also a deciding factor. And the opportunity to complete clinical rotations in different countries, I think, is a very important thing that Texila has to offer. I mean, you can do your rotations in Guyana, you can do it in US, you can do it in your home country. That is a very, very important decision-making factor for any student, the part where you have options available. And also it provides a pathway for licensing exams as well, like you have USMLE, PLAB, or even the MCI. And TA's focus, practically hands-on experience, I think is also a great reason to choose Texila, alongside the theoretical foundations that she already mentioned, having basic science and clinical experience. I would say that the way they have structured their education pattern, that is very important for any medical professional's academic path. So I think that is the reason I chose TAU.
So I chose Texila mainly because in Guyana at that time, we only had 2 medical schools, I'd say, that were, of good standard, being Texila and another university. And usually they offer tours when you would have completed high school. And my tour at Texila had really made an impact on my decision because just the infrastructure, for one, was really amazing. They have really good libraries. They have hangout spaces to make your studying, more comfortable. And they had everything I thought that would be a very good foundation for me as a medical student, especially on the new path. Also, the fact that it catered mainly to medical students. There were faculties that had ideas and ways of dealing with particular issues. And of course, like Adrita mentioned, they offer their rotations in multiple countries, especially the US. That is a big thing that I had considered. Also, the hands-on approach that they offer is really, really good for students because it helps us to develop our skills that are needed for the future. Overall, Texila has been a really good choice, I can say, and they have lived up to the expectation.
I think at this point, I'm basically going to be highlighting a couple of things that my colleagues have already said. But I think you can't really talk about an interest in Texila without actually starting with Guyana itself. Guyana is is the country with the fastest growing economy in the world right now, and I think that's extremely interesting. It's an extremely interesting place to be, right, at this point in time, by virtue of that. So, in terms of the amount of diversity, the growth, the global attention that, Guyana is receiving, I think that, it's a very nice place to be positioned in at this point in time, and the opportunities that could come to you as a result of that is definitely something that you can't miss out on. Yeah. In addition to that, now once again, by virtue of Guyana's position in the sense of it being in the Caribbean technically, yeah. Well, South America, but the Caribbean technically, yeah. One thing that you find is that it offers a very more affordable path if you intend to practice in the US, which is basically what brought me here. Because if you're looking to actually practice in the US and you're looking at the cost breakdown, it's like off the charts, yeah, as compared to if you were to actually come here, complete your studies, yeah, and then try to actually get into the US, which kind of provides a far easier path into. In addition, further adding on to that, is Texila's affordable fee structure compared to if you were to study in the US. And obviously, for an international student, what you'd be most concerned about the accreditation, which I think at this point in time, Texila is the most accredited university in Guyana. So, they've got their ECFMG certification, they've got their CAMHP certification, and these are really important things. For example, if a student intends to actually work in the Caribbean, once you graduated, you're basically secured, and at the same time, if you intend to practice in the US, Texila does a really good job at that in, providing you with the resources that you would need, and also the guidance. The current dean of the university, I believe, sat on was the director for, if I'm not mistaken here, I think Saints University or something of the sort. Yeah, which is a pretty big university in the Caribbean and has one of the highest rates of students being accepted into U.S. medical programs for residency. So, having somebody like that, guiding the university definitely has it on the right path, and this is very important for students, that are looking to go into the US, because sometimes it's not just about clearing the exams, it's also about getting a good recommendation. Once again, and something that my colleague also mentioned is the environment, it's pretty conducive, the campus, we've got like a gym on the facility, we've got a sporting center, a well-equipped laboratory, so basically things that make your education very conducive. So once you have all that with the extensive resources, provided by the library, you're pretty much guaranteed that once you put in your time and your efforts, you'd be able to definitely achieve your dreams.
The accreditation and so far your experience of spending multiple years has been great. My next question is, how are the practical skills like clinical rotations, lab work, which is critical for a good medical school and for you guys training to be doctors? How have they integrated that in the curriculum? If you can share your experience about that.
What I was going to say is Texila is very equipped in that area. Coming straight from the pre-medical program, we had multiple lab sessions integrated into our curriculum, our biochemistry, our physics, and they made that pretty comfortable. They have all the equipments, pretty modern, I must say, and so that's really good. The faculties are also well equipped in dealing with these things, especially in the labs. They're well trained. They ensure you have your safety gears and you learn the complete measure of a good laboratory process. Moving on to the clinical practice, they have done a pretty good job in securing some of the best doctors to take care of us while we are on the hospital rotations. So we have consultants and specialists and even residents who would make this process even better by, showing us how the lab works, taking blood samples, working on the wards, interacting with patients. Your clinical skills are really tested, and it is strengthened by the good faculty and resources that they provide for us. So I think, it has been really good.
I would like to add something, ma'am, to this. Like, I've spoken to my friends back in India who have done internship, right? I have people who have done from Texila doing internship right now in India, and people who have not studied here. So there is a vast difference in the kind of practice and the kind of knowledge you have, because here it is all hands-on experience. Especially if I'm talking about the rotations, you have to be on your A game all the time, because the doctors at any point can ask you any question. So in that way, your overall development happens at the hospital, whether it is learning a new procedure or learning about the disease or pathology. But when you go back and do your internship, at least what I've heard from my colleagues and friends back in India, that once you go back and once you start your internship, doctors there are actually really impressed by the level of knowledge you have. Because in some countries, like in US, you don't get to touch the patients, you only get to observe from a distance. But in Guyana with Texila, that's not the case. You get your hands-on experience, and the doctor itself encourages you to practice on the patients and to learn new procedures, which is very important for later on internship and residency. And also the doctors here take out time and come and teach us, whether it is in college or whether it is we have an office, clinical office here, where they take out their time and they come and teach us. So that is also like an initiative that Texila takes in making sure that we are not only learning in the hospital but outside of the hospital as well. And they also provide us with their PowerPoint presentations, which includes key things that you need to know about the topic they are teaching, and they expect you to read beforehand, so you get a vast knowledge and a in-depth knowledge about that topic. So I think that's a greater experience, and from real life situations that I've seen, this really helps going forward in internship and residence.
So continuing on what she said regarding clinical rotations here, and speaking from my personal experience, I really have to say that the clinical rotations here are really beautiful in the sense that, first of all, they practice evidence-based medicine, right? So whatever it is that you're doing is always backed, it's always backed by statistics, by actual knowledge, right? And what I absolutely love is the fact that you really, I can't overemphasize on this, the hands-on experience that you get to have, and I think why that's so impactful is because when you actually start to practice as a doctor yourself, nothing feels strange to you, because the whole idea is basically to put you in that scenario, not just from a learning perspective, but to also make you feel as though you're the person in charge and you're the one making the decisions, so it really puts into perspective what you're doing. And I think it also gives you a huge boost in confidence, because whatever it is that you're doing, not only are you well guided, but you've also had the opportunity to, really get to do it yourself. And I think that, for somebody that's really passionate about what they're doing, that's just like an opportunity that, you can't miss out. And from what we mentioned initially regarding how Texila basically gives you the options to study in different places, one thing I can say, even though I haven't experienced rotation in some of the other places that they offer, one thing I can say from my experience here is that the university always tries to look out for your interests. So while you're on the rotations, when you have challenges, you always know for a fact that, you can reach out to the university and they've got your back in terms of actually trying to make sure that you're getting your money's worth out of the experience. And this is something that, I really want to emphasize. For over here in Guyana, what you find, just like my colleague said again, the doctors are really passionate about you actually learning, right? They're very passionate about that. So, they're always there encouraging you, to actually get yourself into the scene, to try to get the knowledge yourself, and you get that hands-on real life experience, and the most amazing part to it is, depending on how enthusiastic and passionate you are about it, you actually might find yourself diagnosed in some cases. And I think that, as a medical student, you just really can't ask for more, to be honest. So
There's real medical training, right, which you need to succeed and to become a good doctor eventually. So thanks for sharing that. Are the course materials and resources sufficient to help you succeed in your studies?
So the course materials are well curated and covers everything we need. So they provide us the online resources, including the PPTs and the lecturer subscription, including the Kaplan subscription, which has the video lectures as well as the question banks. which give you access to the USMLE question banks and provide a complete learning resource for the exam preparation like USMLE. And additionally, the faculties and doctors ensures that we are not just relying on the textbooks, but also learning through our discussions and case studies every day in the hospital. And we also do the real world applications and with the case scenarios we get to solve during our sessions every day.
What do you enjoy most about studying at Texila?
First of all, the best thing about Texila is that it provides a multicultural environment, right? So you're being surrounded by students from all over the world. That helps you appreciate different perspectives on medicine and life. So the diversity has been invaluable and has been preparing me for a global healthcare career where cultural competence and understandings are very important. So I think the friendships and networks I've built here will last a lifetime. And also, the curriculum at Texila is so well structured. And just we were talking about the materials; they are up to global medical standards, and they keep on updating that. Access to, let me talk about the robust library we have. We have e-journals, we have medical journals, e-books, hard copies, and the professors here are so inclusive, and they are ready to help you at any point in time. They are always accessible, and they have a vast knowledge, and they just want to fill you up with the knowledge so that when you go into your rotations you have absolutely no problem. Another thing that I wanted to specify about is the dean of our college, who has this amazing policy called the open door policy. So in generally universities where you see you have to go from one level to another to meet the dean, but here it's not that. Any problem you have at any time, we have the management support, we have the dean support, and whenever we want to try anything new into the college that would integrate both the medical, the academic, and the cultural aspect of it, the management is always ready for it. So far, my experience in Texila has truly been amazing. Medical career itself, the path, the journey is very tiring, is very tough. But the fact about Texila is that it's trying to integrate both of these so well. We have our sport events, we have our cultural events, we keep doing research work. We just had our fifth international conference where we spoke about how obesity has become a major global impact especially after the pandemic. So I think these are the things that keep you refreshed apart from your academic work, and they keep thriving you to do new things. And we had a sports day that was impeccable. We had we every year we have a cultural mingle, so we see the different diversities and cultures from all over the world. So far the experience has just been great.
And Aditya, you're speaking from your heart. It looks like Texila has become home away from home. Yeah, and I see almost you're teary-eyed. That's amazing. It says a lot. Brittany, how about you? So, what do you enjoy the most?
I really have to agree here. Adrita really hit it home with most of her responses, and I feel the very same actually. Starting from the cultural, multicultural background that we share at Texila. Most of my closest friends are from a different nationality, and I absolutely love them. And the opportunity of just meeting new people from new places, it's so amazing. And I meet them just by being at home. And, it feels amazing to just meet all these people and share a career line. And, you mix with their culture and you get to know what they like and how they respond to certain things. It's amazing. And as she mentioned, we have numerous things to make these possible, such as our cultural mingles. That's one of the biggest things there. Very inclusive, very amazing. And I must say, though, that the lecturers, they do make us feel all included. They're very diverse. And that's one of my favorite things about Texila. There's never a bias that you have to deal with or anything of that sort. It's always a home away from home. Even when I'm at home, I can approach anyone despite our different cultures. It's always great. It's always great. And I just have to, again, make reference to Adrita's comments. It was beautiful. And that's exactly how I feel.
If you could sum up your experience at Texila in one sentence, what would it be?
It's been a journey of self-discovery.
Great.
Right. That's really the most simplest way I could put it to, really pack what it's been, because it's just been so much. There's a lot to say.
Thank you. No, that's great. What is that one thing you believe makes Texila American University unique in comparison to some of the other medical universities you may have explored while looking for the perfect medical school for yourself?
The personalized support from the faculty is what makes the TAU unique, and the professors really invest in the personal growth, both academically and personally. Combined with the diverse cultural environment here, it creates a learning experience. The major factor which I was drawn to was the clinical experience. The hands-on training, the 2 years of clinical rotations offered a significant practical experiences, building the confidence in patient interactions as well as the clinical skills. Patient interaction, the real cases which I see around in the hospital every day, definitely builds lifelong knowledge. And yeah, that's what makes it unique compared to other universities.
Perfect. Brittany, if you were to sum up your experience in one sentence, what would that be?
That is truly a challenge to sum it up. But my experience at Texila has been truly amazing, life-changing. That is, it has been the stepping stone to everything I ever dreamt of. So I would say, it's amazing. Texila has been absolutely amazing.
Brilliant. Most of you, I think, are going to be thinking or are currently doing the MLE preparation or would be doing it in the future. How well does Texila American University prepare students for the licensing exams?
First of all, as we've already talked about, the curriculum of the university is actually tailored towards preparation for that exam, right? In terms of how you're being taught and in terms of the resources, such as like the Kaplan subscription or the materials that, would be shared during tutoring sessions. All of this are actually geared towards a USMLE preparation. But one of the things that I find being the most important, and something that I actually think makes Texila stand out from other universities here in Guyana, is after once you're in MD, after every final exam that we have is an exam called the NBME exam, or the shelf exam, right? Which actually is an examination that students use to prepare for the USMLE. So you find that after every coursework that's completed, you have to sit for that exam, right? So, and to be able to sit for that exam and to clear it, you have to have basically used USMLE materials. So your preparation already starts from that level. I think another thing that actually contributes big time to your preparation is that you find a lot of students actually having an interest for that exam. So there's a whole lot of interaction between students, right, trying to, sit for the exam. So you find that very strong with the student body. You also find students who've already done the exam passionate to, coach and offer guidance and tutorship to, all the students. So you find that there's this very stimulating, very supportive and motivating environment that pushes you towards the exam. And I say this so confidently because you find a couple of students who never even knew about the exam before joining, right? And by the time, that they're in the MD, they're like experts when they're talking about this exam, they know about all the resources needed. And I think that's really important. That's very important, the fact that a lot of students find that and get that impact, it speaks volumes as to how supportive of that the university is.
No, that's amazing, because a lot of time I get these questions, the universities boast of students completing MLE. How many students are actually able to clear it? So thank you for sharing all the resources and experiences that you have gone through so far. How confident do you feel about your future career as a doctor after your education at Texila American University?
I feel very confident stepping into the future, especially with Texila. They have provided the ultimate stepping stone to, greater paths. And I must start, especially from the PM program. They have equipped us straight there. The level of thinking and critical knowledge that they provide us even from the beginning. And secondly, to our clinical rotations, the amazing hand-on experiences, the way we incorporate our daily schedules with doctors, and we have day-to-day patient relationships that are built on, good knowledge and evidence-based medicine. I feel like this really gives us a launching pad for greater things. The faculty, the doctors that we have, they are all studying, who have not completed degrees, are still in school. And so it's a process of knowledge, and it gives us that get go mentality where we want to keep also doing the same thing. We want to strive for higher heights. I'm also already thinking about my residency program just by interacting with these doctors every day. And I think Texila does an excellent job by catering to us by providing the best doctors there is, especially at GPHC. That's the hospital that we rotate at and we have the hands-on experience at. Yeah, so I feel very comfortable, very happy about my experience. And as compared to my other colleagues from different medical schools, I can say that I have a level of confidence that is probably irreplaceable by just studying there every day and doing these exams and, interacting with the doctors. I really love that, and I feel comfortable and confident.
I feel very confident about my future as a doctor because of the clinical experience that we got here, as well as the interaction with the doctors and the patients every day. I think that has played a huge role in my confidence as a doctor, and it had prepared me very well for the challenges in the medical field. And from the solid academic foundation which we get from PM to MD4, as well as the hands-on clinical experience, I think I feel ready to step into my role as a doctor and make a meaningful impact.
I think, the medical journey is one that, as you keep going along, you keep figuring it out. That's just the nature of it. You started, when you begin, you're like, hey, what's going on? When you graduate, you're like, hey, what's going on? What am I really a doctor now? But one thing I definitely say Texila does for you is it gives you that preparedness. And I can't understate how important that actually is. Like, you don't feel as though you're confused or you're lost. You feel as though you know what next, what you know the next step that you have to take, right? Be it whether you want to go back to your home country and practice, be it whether you want to go to another country. You know what you need to know, what you need to know, you know what you need to do. And the most important part is you know how to do it. And you get this because during your course of the program, you would have counselors, reaching out to you, asking you, hey, what is it that you intend to do and how can we guide you to that? And to me, that's really important because of the nature of your medical career, right? It's challenging. And a lot of times, what you find is that you have to figure things out yourself. And I think, and I really have to give it to Texila in the sense that, they simplify that process a lot more. By the time you're finishing your program, you have a pretty good idea of what it is that you want to do and how you want to achieve that goal. And I think Texila does an excellent job with that.
So I think I feel very confident about my future as a doctor. Texila's education, as everyone said, has, I think, prepared me both academically and practically to handle real world medical challenges. I would say the faculty's emphasis, both professors in campus and doctors out there in the hospital, they really emphasize on critical thinking, problem solving, patient-centered care, and that ensures that I'm well equipped for my career. And whether it involves practicing medicine, doing research work, or even healthcare leadership roles, I think we are all ready for it. And the fact that Idris just mentioned about the counselors, I think that plays a very great role. We have academic mentoring that happens at campus, but apart from that, I think each doctor we meet at the hospital, they are much better career counselors as well, because they are so open to any of your ideas, so you can actually go and discuss with them about your future, and they would give you relevant details about it, and they would also give you the positives and negatives of choosing that path. So I think that plays a very great role in deciding your future and which specialization you want to go to. So Texila has made us all very confident. Thank you.
It's so good to hear, everyone. My last question, but one of the most important questions. How safe and secure do you feel in Guyana and on campus?
The campus is really safe here, and the environment, it's very friendly. Brittany is local Guyanese, so she can answer it better because she's living here since so many years.
Yeah, thank you, Keisha. So I think Texila has done a really good job in terms of security and safety. As a Guyanese, yes, they are, about crime rate as in every other country and all these things. However, Texila has done their bit to make us feel safe and protected. And I'll give a few examples. So on our campus, before even entering, a regular person has to show their school ID. And if you aren't a student, you have to give the reason why you're there. And so I feel like this really promotes security from the gate in. So they know who you are, who you're coming to. And then even as you go further, as you begin to enter our campus, there is a fingerprint system. Each student has their fingerprint saved in the school. So you cannot really access the school campus without being a student there who is registered. And I think that is one of the safest things you can feel on campus. So that's really good. People who are visitors, there's a waiting area for them. So if there's somebody that you're not sure who that person is interviewed, and then, only then they get to go ahead on the campus. As it relates to our clinical experience, it is pretty good. We've had many discussions about how do you become feeling safe after calls, and on calls as medical student is something that we should all be worried about because it goes over your regular time limit. For example, we would go to, let's say, 11 p.m. Guyana time sometimes, or even over if needed. However, they have an office right down the road that that's a Guyanese term, right down the road, but they have an office right up the street. It's not too far. So we get to reside there during working hours. And after hours, they always promote that we go home in a group, or we carpool, or we go home with a colleague. So most of our on-call schedules are scheduled with the person you live closest to or the person you live with. So, they do provide ways and means of getting us safely around Guyana. And I think they're doing a good job. And my colleagues who are international students, they can probably share their personal experiences. And I think, I feel safe.
Awesome. So, firstly, I want to thank you all again for your time. It's been a pleasure knowing your journey and your career goals going forward from here. So, I wish you guys the very best in your life, for your future, and beyond. Thank you again for your time.